The Kansas City Chiefs get to take on the LA Rams, and this time it's very, very different. This is not the 50-50 shootout that we have seen in the past. I know that game was a lot of fun. You can't think that this is going to happen because this team is decimated. The Chiefs have the advantage because of where their injury history is. Their starting quarterback out. Their starting center out. Their backup center, questionable. Allen Robinson is questionable. Tyler Higbee is questionable. Their weapons are depleted. The Chiefs have the advantage here, even though they have a couple tweaks of their own. But the big news is that JuJu Smith-Schuster is making his return. How much he'll play, we'll talk about that in a second. It is Kadarius Toney that is going to be out for this game, still with the hamstring, the one that was bothering him in New York. So a carryover there. You can see that it's going to be an up and down thing with Kadarius Toney, but getting JuJu back is a big difference. This is going to be the game changer as they go forward. We're going to give you the 4 important points of this game plan and then the primer on where everybody's at coming up right now. And I want to start at the end of the day, it's about a backup quarterback, a backup quarterback that they're going to put out there without a center that has had much playing time. Both of their centers are hurt. This is going to be a feast. And so number one thing for the Chiefs to do is to just maintain what they're doing and get pressure up the A-gaps. That means Chris Jones feasting. That means Colin Saunders feasting. This could be a breakout party. And what that does, pressure up the middle, allows you to flush whatever quarterback that is. It is the fastest path to the quarterback in any pass rush. So when you get those guys stacked in on the A-gaps, that generally is going to flush the quarterbacks out to the sides. And that's going to allow Mike Dana and Frank Clark, and most importantly, George Karlaftis to clean up those pass rushes and maybe get themselves on the tally board. I look for George Karlaftis to rush from a little bit wider stance and alignment so that he can be the guy that they're flushing them to, because you don't want to go at Frank Clark on the other side. And if Chris Jones is already in your face, there's only one escape point, and that will be into the hands of Big GK. Let's see how he does this week. The next thing that you got to do is come back and make sure that you build on what you've already started. CH is out. Rojo is likely to be called up. We don't have that confirmed yet, but it is on the way. That means Pacheco gets the call. And this is a team that I think is going to have a hard enough time putting up offensive points. Their defense is going to struggle against the run as well. So you want to build on what we saw last week, take that pressure off of JuJu in his return, in Sky, so that he can just kind of settle into the game. And obviously, when you don't have Toney, you don't have that X factor. That gives you a wider berth. You can rely on the run a little bit without sacrificing your overall offensive production. That's what you want to do. You want to focus. And it was 15 carries for Pacheco last week. I hope that it remains the same. You want 15, maybe plus a little bit, plus some McKinnon, and then hopefully that you get to the fourth quarter and you can change some things up. I have an idea about that. We'll get to that in a second. But as it comes through, the pass rush is first. Throwing the ball is going to be, I think, balanced there so you can protect those guys. But then it's about protecting the safety spot because Juan Thornhill is likely to miss this game with a calf, and that means Brian Cook. We talked a lot about him in the third safety role, having contributed to a number of games in positive ways. He's made his mistakes as well. He is a rookie, a first-look player right now. But now he's going to get a chance to play with Reed on significant steps. It's going to be his first full week as the starter, taking all the starter reps. And I think that leads to a turnaround, a step forward for him. He clearly, in confusion at the end of the last game, had an idea of where everybody should be back. He was trying to move guys around. He has to be more vocal and more demonstrative. Even though he is the rookie, he has to lead from the back and make sure that alignment matches up to the calls, particularly in the red zone. That's going to be the big test for Brian Cook. They can protect him, and this should be number 3 because it's that important. They can protect him, but they have to make sure that they're supporting him as well. That means maybe not putting Reed down in the box quite as much. Play a little bit more too high. You can play zone and afford to not get busted because I think Allen Robinson being out, Higbee being questionable, those are 2 things that I think in zone you want to be a little bit more instructive on. And then it comes down to the plan, and that is the coaching staff. You need to go out, run your first 15, get out to a lead, continue to push that. Play your full offense into the first half and honestly into the second half. The first 2 drives of the third quarter should be the Chiefs starters still, and then you get a chance. My expectation is you're up by that point and that you can take a step back, relax a little bit, and then try some things out. That's when this should shift away, and this should be a lot of Noah Gray, a lot of Jody Fortson, and then Rojo needs to come in. I think you want to get him at least 10 touches out of the backfield in order to see what you have. It's been a long time since he was on the field. That plays a toll, especially for a veteran that feels probably a little neglected. He had even asked for a trade at one point. So you want to make sure that you do that. We'll see how he looks. I don't expect a whole lot, but the fourth important thing is that you want to find out so that you know going forward. CH is due to miss some time here. And that means that you don't want to put too much stress on Pacheco and McKinnon. Don't want to stress them out. So you got to have a third viable option. If it's not going to be Rojo, you have to go find something else. And this will be the thing that gives that away. Now, there's a lot of little details that have to come in and out of this ballgame. And in the end, it's all about playing as team. I know it's been a holiday. There's a little bit of distraction there, but you got to circle the wagons, attack these Rams. They're not the Rams that you played last time in a boat race, but you do have to go show your dominance. This is a week that you can do that. And you have to be able to put up the production. The stats tell a lot. And Gary's going to jump in here and tell you what you need to know about the stats primer. So make sure you like and sub and hit this bell right now. Here's Gary.
All right, let's rock and roll for the stat primer between the Chiefs and Rams on Sunday. This is the 13th regular season matchup between these two teams, and the Chiefs own the series with a 7-5 record. Andy Reid is 1-1 versus the Rams during his time in Kansas City, and Mahomes is 0-1. He's never beat the Rams. The last time these two teams faced each other was with Mahomes in that crazy 51-54 loss. That was dubbed one of the greatest games of all time. In that game, Patrick Mahomes had 478 passing yards, 6 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions with a 117.6 rating. I checked the stats, and that is the highest passer rating ever in NFL history where a quarterback threw for 3 interceptions. So it's just another little record that Mahomes owns. So, looking at this game offensively between the two teams, as we know, have been absolutely dominant on offense, and the Rams have been surprisingly terrible so far this year. They rank 32nd, dead last in the NFL in yards per play, 26th in net passing yards per play, 31st in rushing yards per play. So, in this game, the Rams are going to be without Matt Stafford, and their second string quarterback is also unavailable, which means they're going to be relying on Bryce Perkins, who is a second-year quarterback out of Virginia. He's never made an NFL start. So that rushing average for the Rams has been really low in 2022, and I think the team would want to try to lean on the run game with Perkins making his first NFL start, but that's going to be rough because they're next to last, only averaging 3.4 yards per carry. As we mentioned, the Chiefs have been awesome on offense. They're first in points per game, scoring 30 points per game, whereas the Rams are 29th in the NFL, only averaging 16.8 points per game. Switching to the defensive side of the ball, the Rams have been fairly mediocre on that side, and the Chiefs have been right there with them. In terms of points per game allowed, the Chiefs rank 20th in the NFL, giving up 23.3 points per game, whereas the Rams are 17th, giving up 22.7 points per game. The area where the two teams really diverge is in terms of their pass rush. The Chiefs rank 6th in the NFL with a 24.6% pressure percentage, whereas the Rams rank 31st in the NFL with a 14.1% pressure percentage. The Chiefs have been blitzing the 9th most in the NFL, while the Rams have been blitzing the 15th most. So the Rams have been blitzing an average amount, yet their pass rush is still forcing one of the worst pressure percentages in the NFL. Meanwhile, the Chiefs have improved with their front four over the past few weeks, blitzing the 9th most, and they've got the 6th most pressures. So that means in addition to the fact that they're blitzing a lot, their front four is also getting the job done, especially as of late, getting 5 sacks in their last 2 games each. So looking at this game in terms of strength versus weakness, this game really favors the Chiefs. The Chiefs' pass protection ranks second in the NFL. They've only given up a sack on 4% of Mahomes' dropbacks. The Rams, on the other hand, in terms of their pass rush, like we said, they're 31st in pressure percentage. Also to note is that the Chiefs' pass rush has been very good. They rank 6th in terms of pressure percentage, Whereas the Rams have been one of the worst teams protecting their quarterback. They're giving up a sack on 9% of their pass plays, which ranks 28th in the NFL. So you want to see a game where Mahomes is not pressured very much, and Bryce Perkins is going to have a rough go of it with his first NFL start facing a good pass rush from the Chiefs, and his offensive line hasn't held up too well throughout the season. In terms of strength versus strength, there's only one strength versus strength matchup in this game, and that's in terms of the Chiefs' rushing attack. They're seventh in the NFL, averaging 4.8 yards per carry, while the Rams have the third best run defense in the NFL, only giving up 3.9 yards per carry. So the key to this game, in my opinion, is going to be which team can run the ball effectively. If the Rams cannot run the ball on Sunday, it's going to be a long day for them offensively. They may have a difficult time scoring points, and you don't want to have to put the entire game on Bryce Perkins' shoulders. And that might be the case because the Chiefs' defense has done fairly well against the opponent's rushing attack, ranking 11th in the NFL, only giving up 4.4 yards per carry. And the Rams' rushing attack has been abysmal, as we mentioned before. So I think this is going to be a game where if the Chiefs can limit the Rams' rushing attack, then good things should happen. In terms of the predictions for this week's game, Ryan's got the Chiefs winning 28-17. Dan's got the Chiefs 31-14. I've got the Chiefs 27-6, and Seth's got the Chiefs 34-16. I really wanted to predict a shutout, but I chickened out. So if they get a shutout, I'm going to be kicking myself. But what do you think is going to be the score for this game? What's your predictions? As always, make sure you like and share and subscribe. We really need the help, and we really appreciate it too. Anytime you share or spread the good old news of RGR football to your friends and family, so they can share and they can join. Anyways, let us know your predictions. As always, really appreciate y'all. This is Gary, RGR Football, signing out. Go